Well, last time I did this, I I didn't get all of them. So we're back. This one's got the alpha kids. It's even got some damn sprites in it. This is another Homestuck shipping speedrun. Okay? And here's the rules, because I didn't explain them last time. But I feel like now that I'm doing the full list, I gotta lay out the rules, okay? The ground rules. So if it's a speedrun, why don't I just do this, you know? Well, the reason for that is because you have to stand by every opinion you put on the board. If you put Caliborn and Jake in it's bad and you should feel bad, then you have to deal with people in the comment section saying, how could you hate my favorite ship? So you have to rank them accurately, or else you're not going to be able to put up with it, you know? You'll be burned at the stake. And, you know, if you really think something's bad, I think it's worth putting it in the bad tier. Because then you can sort of explain yourself if you need to later. Probably not during the speedrun, but maybe in the comments. I'm going to try to give one-sentence explanations for all of them. Last time, I did some, sure, and I can see it. I don't like that, okay? I'm going to try to give a one-sentence explanation for why I'm putting them where they are. Sometimes that might be a single word. It might be like, oh, I don't know, abusive, or maybe in act blank, but not at the end, which is where I'm judging all of these from. Where the characters end up, okay? So, okay, as soon as I press start on this, the speedrun begins. 3, 2, 1. Okay, John Carcat. I can see it, but probably more as friends. Actually, they're Kismesis at the end. That makes sense. John Nepeta. I feel like he's too nice for her. John Vriska. I feel like John sees the truth of Vriska at some point. But okay. Dave Nepeta. Dave Peta works out really well, so I'll put them in... Yeah, sure. I'll put them at the top with love. Jake Caliborn, abusive. John and Dave, yeah, it's well established in the first few acts as a possibility. Tavros and John, they would bore each other after a while, but they'd be good as friends. John and Terezi, they're Kismesises. They get on each other's nerves. It works. John Roxy, yup. It would work. We've seen it. John Dirk. They would have nothing to talk about. Sorry. Rose and Jade. Again, I feel like they'd have almost nothing to talk about. They barely talk to each other. Sorry. Rose Aradia. Kind of like Rose and Kanaya, but with a little bit more of the darkness. Actually might work better than them if, you know, situations have been different. Rose and Nepeta. Polar opposites. Rose and Kanaya. It's the OTP. Rose and Terezi. They're almost too similar, I think, but they might be good as friends. Rose and Vriska. They hate each other. Too much. Rose and Pfeffery. They're polar opposites again. It's basically just Rose and Jade, but there's a troll instead. Rose and Jane. Yeah, it's kind of like if you were trying to pair Rose and John together. It's not going to work. Dave and Jade. I feel like we've got pretty good evidence that it would work. Dave and Carcat. Again, I feel like we got pretty good evidence it could work. Dave and Aradia. It would be a little weird, but I could see them maybe getting there. I think probably maybe better off as friends. Dave and Tavros. I mean, they got the rap thing, so I guess, sure. Dave and Solix. They're like the worst kind of opposites, where they're so similar, but have one completely opposite trait. Dave and Terezi. We see that it actually doesn't work, but they do work out as friends. Dave and Gamzee. I mean, I don't have a real problem with all Gamzee ships, so sorry. Dave and Equius. Kind of like dude bro energy. I feel like Equius would make Dave worse. So, I guess. Dave and Jane. It's like Dave and John, but more boring. Dave and Jake. It's like Dave and John, but more boring. Jade and Carcat. They are terrible for each other. Jade and Aradia. Actually interesting, considering they both have this wide view of the universe. I feel like it could work out. I feel like I said this last time. Jade and Tavros. There's a moment I think Tavros could fall in love with Jade. It would never be reciprocal. So let's say they're animal-loving friends. Jade and Solix. Nope. They're too opposite. Jade and Nepeta. Actually, some pretty good groundwork here in terms of being furries and liking charts, I guess. Sure, that it might not be terrible. Jade and Kanaya. This is the Weird World version of Rose and Jade. Or Rose and Kanaya, rather. That doesn't work as well, but it could potentially, I guess. Jade and Terezi. No. Maybe good friends. Jade and Vriska. I don't think Jade could even hate Vriska, which is kind of funny. So, sure, put it in this one. Wait, Jade and... Okay, no, Jade and Roxy. Okay, now... What? Oh, no. I set a timer. Oh, this is time loss. It's time loss. I accidentally set a timer as well. Okay, I was like, what is happening? Jade and Roxy. This could kind of work. They're both kind of similar, honestly, in a way I've never considered before. Carcat and Aradia. I think this is kind of underrated. I feel like they could balance each other out quite well. Carcat and Tavros. Yeah, no, they'd destroy each other. They'd kill each other after a while. Carcat and Solix. This is like this would be Kismisitude, definitely, after a time. Carcat and Nepeta. It's so sad that Carcat just does not care about her. But, you know, maybe if she wears him down. Sorry. Carcat and Kanaya. They've got a good friendship. Let's keep it at that. Carcat and Terezi, we've canonically seen it doesn't work. I think they're good as friends. Carcat and Vriska. I mean, they hate each other. I feel like they could do well here. Carcat and Equius. I feel like they just don't care about each other at all. Carcat and Gamzee. I mean, they're Morales, and not even particularly good ones, so... Carcat and Equius. No. Maybe Kismis. Well, no, because... Did I say Equius? Eridan would never be mature enough for that, so... You know what? I'm putting the Eridan ship down here. Sorry, Eridan fan. Carcat versus... Carcat and Jane. This is like Carcat and John, but worse. Carcat and Jake. This is like Carcat and John, but worse. Carcat and Roxy. Polar opposites. This doesn't make any sense. Carcat and Dirk. Honestly, they both deal with splinters of themselves. Maybe it could. Aradia and Tavros. Honestly, I feel like this could work out. In some way. Aradia and Solix. I feel like we kind of end up at a sort of Morale section with them. I know Morale doesn't specifically just mean friends, but in terms of how that relationship kind of pans out, it feels very similar to a Morale sort of situation where they depend on each other, but they're not romantically involved. Aradia and Nepeta. Yeah, I can see it, I suppose. They've both got obsessive personalities, I guess. Aradia and Kanaya feels like another Weird World Kanaya and Rose. So I'll put it in I can see it, I guess. Aradia and Terezi. These two I don't think ever converse. So, yeah, that's not happening. Aradia and Vriska as Kismises? Yes. Aradia and Equius. It's bad. It's really bad. I'm sorry. There's a lot of You know what? I'll just sum it up like I said I would before. Abuse. Aradia and Pfeffery. Life and death. There's something there. Aradia and Jane. Boring. Aradia and Jake. I feel like this would just make Jake look so pathetic. Aradia and Roxy. There's a potential there, but Roxy would have to get past the creepy aspects of Aradia in terms of her sort of like death, not worship, but love, I guess. Tavros and Solix. Tavros would make Solix want to blow a hole in many things, so yeah. You know what? No, I'll put it in here. It's not strictly bad. Tavros and Nepeta. You know, if Nepeta wasn't blinded by Karkat, I feel like this could have actually worked out fairly well. Tavros and Terezi. I think they have a decent friendship that we don't get to see very much of. I'm a little sad about that. Tavros and Vriska. It just makes me feel bad every time I think about it. Tavros and Gamzee. Honestly, it kind of works. As long as Gamzee doesn't go too crazy. Tavros and Jane. I'm sorry. I just feel like every ship with Jane is boring. I wonder why. Tavros and Jake. Okay, there's at least something here in terms of them both being pages. It could work out, honestly. Tavros and Roxy? No. Tavros and Dirk? No. Solix and Nepeta. Super analytical versus super emotion. There's a potential. I think it might be better as a morail sort of situation. They take care of each other's faults. Solix and Terezi. Glasses wearing, but there's nothing else really there. Solix and Vriska. Honestly, if Solix was willing to turn to the dark side, it could work out. Solix and Equius. I mean, they're both like machines, I guess. Solix and Gamzee. Nope, they would kill each other. And speaking of killing each other, this is Kismesis too, though. Solix and Pfeffery, we saw it work out. Nepeta and Kanaya. No. I don't think they would get along very well. Nepeta and Terezi, did we not already do this? It feels like I've already done this, but whatever. Nepeta and Terezi, I feel like they're good as friends. I really feel like I already said that. Whatever. Nepeta and Vriska, no, that would not work. They are polar opposites. Nepeta and Equius, again, more rails. Nepeta and Gamzee. Kismesis, maybe. Nepeta and Eridan, it's just the way he talks about her. Actually, you should feel bad about that. Nepeta and Pfeffery. Yeah! They would work, wouldn't they? It's called Pfeffeta. Nepeta and Jane. Yeah, I mean, these two, there's something a little more there in terms of their personalities gelling together. Nepeta and Jake, this is like just worse Nepeta Equius, I think. Nepeta Roxy, I feel like they're maybe a little too similar, but they are similar, so I'll put it in, I guess. Kanaya and Terezi, again, I feel like I've done this already. Kanaya and Vriska is Kismesis, for sure. Kanaya and Terezi, no, actually I don't see it. I can't imagine them having a conversation longer than like 3 sentences. Kanaya and Pfeffery, kind of opposites again, kind of like dour versus peppy, but don't like it. Kanaya versus with Jane, rather. Maybe? Maybe. Actually, I feel like they'd be good morals, honestly. Kanaya can handle the emotional entanglements, and Jane can handle the telling people off when they're bad to you, perhaps. Kanaya and Roxy. This is like another weird Kanaya and Rose. Weird world. I mean, I guess. Terezi and Vriska, I think they should be Kismesises, personally. I feel like a lot of the ending of Homestuck leads on to much more friendly rapport between them that I don't feel like should exist. But then again, it was all off screen, so why should I feel that? Terezi and Gamzee, I don't even want to put in Kismesis. I'm going to put it in is bad and you should feel bad. Poor Terezi. Terezi and Pfeffry. Again, I feel like I've already said this. I feel like they would work. Just in terms of being good people to each other, you know? Oh god, there's alpha trolls in this too. Ugh. Terezi and Jane. Boring. Terezi and Jake. Slightly more interesting, I think, but not that much. Terezi and Roxy. This is a little weird. But they both do kind of have weird girl energy, so sure, I'll give them that. Vriska and Equius. Maybe as Morales, honestly. I feel like they could maybe balance each other out pretty well if they were willing to put their egos aside. I mean, these two are Kismesis, Vriska and Eridan. God, why do those names have to be so similar? Vriska and Pfeffry. This is another sort of life and death thing, but I think Pfeffry would hate Vriska after a while. So maybe Kismesis. Okay. We're gonna get Jane out of the way, because Vriska and Jane, I don't get it. Vriska and Jake, though, she would take total advantage of him, and it would be terrible. Vriska and Roxy. No. Again, I feel like they'd hate each other. But not like love-hate, you know? Just like not want to be around each other ever. Equius and Gamzee. I feel like Equius is stupid enough it could maybe work. As long as Gamzee doesn't get off the pies. So, sure. Equius and Eridan. I don't get it. Equius and Pfeffry. This is like less cool Equius and Nepeta. Equius and Jake. This is like less cool Equius and Eridan, which I already don't like. So, Equius and Dirk. I mean, Arqueus Sprite suggests they could get along pretty well. So I'll put it in love. Gamzee and Jane. Again, they would and are shown to hate each other. I feel like it could actually Kismesis at some point. Gamzee and Jake. Nope, that would be abusive. Gamzee and Roxy. No, they would avoid each other. Gamzee and Dirk. Nope. Eridan and Pfeffry. Well, we've already seen it doesn't work. So, yeah. We don't need the Eridan wish fulfillment, okay? Eridan and Jane. He is desperate enough to make it potentially work. But I feel like Jane has too much self-esteem by the end of the game to fall for that. Pfeffry and Jane. Finally, a Jane ship I can understand. Life. Pfeffry and Roxy. Yeah, they would work. Sure. Jane and Jake. Again, we've already shown why this is bad. Sorry, I don't think I explained Pfeffry and Roxy. They both got similar personalities. Jane and Roxy. Honestly, they were kind of alluding to this in the beginning. I don't think it would be that bad, but I'm going to go Morales for now, given how things ended up. Jane and Calliope. Again, honestly, this could work just as well as Jane and Roxy, and they're basically canon, I think, so I'll put them both up here. Jake and Roxy. Now this is some weird world shenanigans. I don't like it. I don't feel like they complement each other at all. Jake and Dirk. Again, we've already seen this doesn't work and is bad for both of them. Sorry. Dirk and Caliborn. They kind of work. I think it's more of a Kismesis tude than anything in terms of the way they deal with each other. Oh man, I don't have to remember the names of these trolls now. Cancry and the guy that he... Is this... Wait, no. Who did this? It was the Equius guy, right? That abuses him? Yeah, that's abusive. Cronus. That's abusive. Cancry and... I don't remember his name. Solix's ancestor. Still not good. Still bad. I feel like the only one that kind of works is Latula. And it's more as a Morale ship than anything. This is also abusive. Mina and Damara is kind of abusive. Damara and Rufio, we know, didn't work out. Cancry and Cronus, I think, is also kind of abusive. I feel like the only one who isn't abusive is, like, Porim. Is Mulin and... what's his name? Kurlaw's abusive, because I actually kind of felt they worked well together, but I think he's brainwashing her. So, sorry. Mina and Arania, they're more rails. We've got triple ships coming up. This is interesting. Porum and Cankri would destroy each other over time. So, Kismesis, I think, makes the most sense. Cankri and Latula, maybe it's just the weird world version of Karkat and Terezi, but I kind of get it, I guess. They're kind of along those same lines. Damara and Porum, I feel like this might work. Maybe? I don't know why. It just feels like it might. Damara and Latula, they would kill each other over time. Damara and Horus. Here's the bad news. Everyone with Horus, it's bad. Sorry to say, Horus is just not good. Porum and Latula. If they don't kill each other first, it could work out. Arania and Porum. Honestly, I feel like evil Arania, after getting cast out of the timeline, Porum could actually talk her down to a place where they could actually make it work. Mina and Cronus, that's just as bad as Fefri and Eridan, honestly. But kind of worse, because they're worse people. Fefri, Aradia, and Solix. Well, given that Fefri and Aradia already kind of work, and I feel like Fefri and Solix works, I feel like this could work. I mean, there's like, it's more of a friend thing between Aradia and Solix, I feel, but if they wanted to take it to the next step, I think it could work. Vriska, Kanaya, and Terezi, this would be terrible for all of them. Vriska, Kanaya, and Rose, this would ruin Rosemary, which I know is the name of their ship now, so good for me. I listened to the comments, so that's bad. Karkat, Gamzee, and Tavros. I guess it kind of balances out. Sure. Tavros, Sprite, Jake, and Dirk. Nope. Fefri, Aradia, and Nepeta. The poor, sad girls who never got anything to do. Yeah, okay. I get it. Dave, John, and Karkat. I just feel like this is too much. I feel like Dave and Karkat, sure. Dave and John, sure. Dave and Karkat. I think that makes sense. But I feel like putting a third person here drives a wedge between either of the other twos. So, sorry. Dave, Karkat, and Jade. Now, this is weird because Jade is just the odd one out in this situation, right? I mean, I'm putting it in I can kind of see it because Jade does have an established relationship with Karkat and Dave. They're not good relationships, though, at the end of the day, in terms of romantic. I don't think that Jade hates Dave or anything. But, it doesn't end well. So, yikes. Dave, Karkat, and Terezi. Why do we need to throw Terezi in there? This is the opposite of the thing where I feel like Solix and Aradia could upgrade from friends, where it feels like if Karkat and Terezi do, it's going to ruin it for everyone. So, don't do that. Gamzee, Solix, Karkat. Gamzee's just thrown in here, huh? We're just trying to find a place for him, are we? Eridan, Karkat, Solix. Now we're just throwing Karkat into something. Kismesis, a three-way Kismesis sounds bad, but it's what it is. Yeah, I guess. I can't really complain about that. I mean, Jane and Roxy makes enough sense. Jane and Calliope makes enough sense. Roxy and Calliope makes enough sense. I guess I don't have any complaints. Dave and Jake and Caliborn. Now this is bad. All the way around. I have to explain that. Because they're all abusive to each other. That's why. Aradia plus Nepeta plus Jane. Weird girls unite. Yeah, okay, I get it. Dave Peta and Jade. Well, we know how Dave Sprite and Jade ended up, and it wasn't well. But maybe Dave Peta is like a better person now, because that was kind of the problem that Jade and Dave Sprite had, I think. Was that Dave Sprite was too sullen about being a sprite, essentially. Okay. But the human non-complete sprites, so, like, I think Dave Sprite isn't... Is Dave Sprite complete? No, because Dave Sprite mute... No, but that's with a Sprite. Okay, never mind. This is fine. They're not going to accidentally kill each other, is basically what I'm saying. Tavros and Gamzee, except there's also Godcat in there. What? Why? Dave Sprite and Jade. We all know how this ends up. And let me be clear. I like it as a plot point. But they're not good for each other. Dave Sprite and Terezi. Again, like, we already did Dave and Terezi. And I know they're different people, but, like, fundamentally, it's just a less well-developed Dave. So... until the whole Nepeta thing happens. Why Carcat? Why Tavros Sprite and Dirk? I don't get it. Why Tavros Sprite and Jake? Actually, this one does make some more sense considering Jake only knew Tavros as Tavros Sprite. So I guess I can see that. They kind of do have a relationship as pages, right? And then Dave Sprite and John, they're kind of bros, but they actually kind of end up hating each other. So I think it'd be funny if they were Kismesis dude. And that is the end. That's pretty shitty speedrun. But you know what? There was a lot of results, okay? Okay. Just to finish my thought on Dave Sprite and John, I think it'd be very funny if John was really good friends with Dave and really terrible friends with Dave Sprite. It would just be like very funny to have that comparison. Am I going to rank my top 10 again? I better do that. Because we got some new entries on the board, all right? I mean, we didn't even have Rose and Kanaya, I don't think, did we? I think we probably did. It's just it was so easy that I don't even remember putting them up here. Rose and Kanaya's top, for sure. They're the only ones that actually really make sense. Like, these other ones, you have to do a little legwork to get them there, you know? I guess other than Solix and Pfeffrey. But Solix and Pfeffrey always felt, like, fine to me, because we didn't really know anything about Pfeffrey. Or anything significant, anyway. Or really Solix, but I feel like I understood Solix better. If they were fleshed out a bit more, I'd probably put them higher. Honestly, I'm kind of sold on specifically this one of the thruples. I feel like it makes sense because it goes in all directions. And the Calliope one also makes sense, but it's a little bit less strong than this one, I think. Roxy and John, I think, kind of got destroyed just because the comic was ending. But I feel like if it went on a little longer, that could have been a very good relationship. It might not have, like, ended nicely, but it would have been good for both of them, I think. In the same way, like, the Dave Sprite and Jade relationship wasn't, like, it didn't end well, but it was still good for both of them. It helped them mature, you know what I mean? It's only going to be a top 5, because apparently I can't even, like, think of anything else. What was that one, a radio one, that I thought was very interesting? A radio Rose is kind of funny. In a world without Rosemary, I feel like this is a pretty good Rosemary substitute. If you're looking for anything like that in your cooking. Wasn't there a good Nepeta one too? I feel like there was a good Nepeta one in there. Yeah, you know what? I'll throw Nepeta Jade a bone. There you go. Those are my favorites of this list that I guess work for me logically. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is the last shipping speedrun for Homestuck, anyway. I wonder if there's a... You know what? I won't say it. I'll keep it a surprise. Like and subscribe. Bye.